Up on the housetop, reindeer paws, out comes dear old Santa Claus. Bring a basket, lots of toys, all for the little ones' Christmas joy. So, ho, 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 ho. Hi. You know, it's not only humans that celebrate Christmas. I mean, in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, reindeer celebrated Christmas. And some other stories, different animals, all celebrate Christmas. Well, mice do too. And they have their own Santa Claus, who works for the big guy. Santa Mouse, And in 1969, a man named Michael Brown wrote a story about one particular naughty mouse that got to meet Santa Mouse. And the story is Santa Mouse Meets Marmaduke. Marmaduke Mouse was a mean little thing. He often behaved like a rat. He did things that weren't nice, like scaring young mice by hollering, "Here comes a cat!" His mother stayed busy. She ran Mouse Hotel, up high in an attic, all hidden away in a cupboard with doors, where she polished the floors, and she cooked, and she washed, and she cleaned every day. When Santa Claus heard about him, he could not believe, and so he said to Santa Mouse, "Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Take off your suit and pack a bag. Go down and ring the bell, and have a look at Marmaduke, who lives at Mouse Hotel." So Santa Mouse packed up his things. He packed a piece of cheese as well. And off he went on Christmas Eve to check in there at Mouse Hotel. He left his luggage by the bed, washed up, and then he went down to dine. And that's when Marmaduke crept up and entered number 29. He tiptoed in. He looked around. He opened the suitcase that he found. And there inside he saw a suit, complete with hat and beard and boot. "What fun!" he thought. "I'll get dressed up, and I know what I'll do." But what he did when you put them on is sad to tell you. He looked into the kitchen, and his mother wasn't there. So he called his little sisters, who came scrambling down the stair. When they saw him, what they did was burst into applause, because they thought on Christmas Eve that he was Santa Claus. Then Marmaduke pulled off the beard and laughed and said, "You see, there isn't any Santa Claus, ha-ha, it's only me." Then a door flew open in that house, and there stood angry Santa Mouse. He said, "You know what that's wrong to do. Just wait till I get through with you." He started after Marmaduke. The little mice began to yell, and pots and pans and apples and potatoes flew pell-mell. The chase was on with cups and saucers, smashing, crashing from the shelf, till all at once someone cried, "Stop!" And there stood Santa Claus himself. "You mice have made a mess," he said, and he looked at them and shook his head. "You've got to clean it up, you two, and while you do, I'll speak to you. Now, Marmaduke, you told these mice I wasn't real, which wasn't nice. And Santa Mouse, you had a fit. You lost your temper, you'll admit. And yet, there's nothing wrong with being angry, not as long as you say it and don't hit, for no one wants that, not a bit." And then he picked up Santa Mouse and whispered something very low. Quite suddenly, they disappeared. On Christmas Eve, they worked, As Marmaduke looked at his mother, in his eye there came a tear. "Sorry, Mom," he said. He knew that he would get no gift this year. But he was wrong, for in the morning, labeled with a big red pin, a box stood there with his name on it. Santa had come back again. He opened it, and there appeared, with cap and belt and boots and beard, a suit that Santa Claus had sewn for Marmaduke to call his own. The card inside said, "Let's be friends." And that is how this story ends. As Marmaduke held in his paws the proof there is a Santa Claus. Santa is the friend who's true, and I believe in him, don't you? Something to think about, Cubs.